I think we're at a point where it's just there's so many fucking bands, so much saturation. Just enjoy what's out, and if it's good, it's good. You know.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
Conan, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it. It's busy days. You've done a lot of interviews already, and I'm sure that they're keeping you still busy after this one too.
Yes.
Let's just jump in straight away with a question I wanted to ask you for quite some time. This is the first time we get to speak. Although
Yes,
I've seen you play.
Once again, thanks for having me too.
My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. So, it's always fun to see people struggle, classify Exmortus. And, you know, I find that over the years, more and more words are added to the mix, you know, like I think people land on like neoclassical Blackened power thrash or something like that. Should we just call it metal?
Yeah, I know what you mean about that, because that although that is very fitting, neoclassical Blackened death thrash, I guess, or whatever else you want to add to it, because we just like so many kinds of genres, I guess. Like I'm speaking for the rest of the band too, that we all grew up with, the 70s classic rock, hard rock, proto metal stuff, and now, of course, actual metal of the 80s. It's just we just still draw from all those older types of music, and they all like different kinds of styles of music too. The progenitors of heavy metal and extreme metal, actually. So then we started getting into extreme metal, like in our middle age years, and middle school years, not middle age. we're approaching that right now.
I was about to say.
But my point is, from middle school to middle age, we're still like, incorporating so many different styles and genres that we just grew up on, and it comes out like kind of weird in a way. I mean, I don't know if weird's the right word, but different, we're kind of we have our own sound, I guess, and I guess you could just call it metal. Why not? Why make it complicated? We're just Exmortus metal, I guess.
Given that you've got so many influences, also means that you can play with so many different bands and be on so many different bills. And I mean, although I find in the last couple of years, metal has definitely become a little bit. Seems that all the subgenres have become a little bit more open to other people and other genres, but there's definitely been times and scenes where it's like a death metal crowd is not going to listen to a black metal band, or a black metal crowd is not open to a classic heavy metal band and stuff like that.
Right.
Do you see, when you play for all these different crowds, when you are playing with other bands, very different bands, do you see different reactions to your music, or do you kind of, because you kind of seem to be a glue between these genres, can you pull them always in?
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, like I guess it depends on the scene, right? Like say we toured with like Obituary a couple of times, and Death Angel, and then even Abath, like different like black metal, thrash metal, and death metal. The crowds kind of bleed together, it seems, and I don't know if it's like our fans per se, because I guess our fans are a little more open-minded.
Yeah,
I mean, they have to be to like us, right? Or I think they're already open-minded. I think I've noticed a newer attitude in I guess recent years with the younger generations too, that everyone just likes everything, kind of whatever's coming out. And if it's good, it's good. They're not trying to be like, they're not trying to be in their like particular niche or whatever, their clique of just black metal only kind of attitude. So yeah, lately it seems like it's like very open, and I like that. I prefer that. I guess some people could argue that the purist and the gatekeeping kind of developed the scene in a way, and I can see some of those points, but I think we're at a point where it's just there's so many fucking bands, so much saturation. Just enjoy what's out, and if it's good, it's good.
In full transparency, I only really got to know you guys with The Sound of Steel coming out. And then, so I'm calling you from Toronto, and you guys played Toronto on the tour to support that in the Hard Luck Bar, I think it was.
Yes,
and
that's right.
Very like it was a crazy show. It's super sweaty, and like painful mosh pits. And it was a wild show, but I also know from other interviews that your mosh pitting days are over. Is that true?
Yeah. For myself, yeah, I don't really. I kind of stopped slowly, and gradually. I stopped getting into the mosh pits and stuff myself, just because I've gotten hurt many times. Hurt my hands, sprained my wrist, and it's just I can't be. I can't be risking like any injuries that's going to prevent my playing. For touring or any kind of performance and stuff. So yeah, I'd rather not risk it anymore.
If I can remember that you guys were like doing solos while you were kind of like embracing each other and going down on the floor.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like, I can't be doing that if I have like a broken arm or something.
Exactly.
And, So it just ruins the fun for me personally. So I can't risk it.
All right, so I obviously want to focus on Necrophony, the new album coming out. Lots to unpack in that album, lots to talk about. In more than a few ways, it feels a little bit maybe like a Exmortus 2.0 or a reset for the band. And a lot of stuff that we can talk about. One of the things I want to dive in first is because I know that you're passionate about it. You guys dive into some darker, deeper lore, if you will, some themes and messages, and you've drawn inspiration from a bunch of areas, but including fantasy. And I know that you're a big Tolkien fan. There's 2 Tolkien-inspired songs on this album. One of them, Oathbreaker, already been released as we were talking. So from one Tolkien fan to the next, first of all, does that make it so much harder for you to write a song like that, or so much easier? Because anybody that loves something as much, you instantaneously feel this weight on your shoulder. And you also know that, especially with Tolkien, if you make a reference that is not 100% correct, you're going to have a legion of people going like, well, actually, it was this or that. How is that for you writing those songs?
No, I know what you mean. I do feel that, because I am one of those actually guys too. If I know something, like, wait a second, that's not right. But it's okay, I guess in the end, if you're basing it off like the film interpretation or the books, right, that's fine, as long as it sticks true to something. But also I don't stress too much, because in the end it's all inspiration. I'm not directly trying to quote Tolkien all the time. I mean, I guess the title Oathbreakers, that's a title they use in the story, and certain phrases like I seek death is something that Aragorn says. So I was like, hell yeah, that sounds sick as fuck. But you know what I mean? I don't blatantly name characters in my lyrics or anything, because I'm not trying to capture. I'm not trying to tell that story. I'm just trying to capture the emotions, the perspectives of certain figures and characters. So I don't feel as worried sometimes. At first I am. I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? And then I'm like, just don't worry. Just don't use any names, and just use basic titles and stuff that people could just kind of infer. Oh, that's Tolkien stuff, But it's pretty cool. I mean, for me, it's usually easy to write about like sword and sorcery stuff, as we've been known for, like in our past 3 albums, even our first album. So this was a good break for us, because we wanted to push another aspect of our sound and lyrics and stuff. So that's why we've been pushing darker themes, granted, we still draw from Tolkien and stuff and high fantasy, but we're using like another side of the darker, spookier side of those stories and whatnot. And I mean, it was a lot. It was very refreshing for us to write it this way, and we were very stoked about it, and came out really great. We're really proud of it, and also I feel it's gonna be very refreshing for our fans to kind of see this new, somewhat new take. I mean, it's still us. We don't sound. It's not too different, you know.
Right.
At least I don't think so. But it is pushing a darker aspect, and I think that's very fitting for the new label too, with Nuclear Blast, since they have a lot of awesome extreme metal bands, and we got to step it up. I think so. We got to keep up with that with that roster.
You brought up a number of things that obviously we want to go deeper into, and you mentioned, the new label, and it's kind of like a new approach, and it's a darker side, and all that kind of good stuff. You also mentioned, well, we've been doing this Swords and Sandals thing for Sword and Sorcery for a couple of albums, and on the surface, before people actually listen to your music, but on the surface, I can imagine that you've dealt with more than a few people that look at you or look at your album and go like, "What's this? Okay, yeah, it's a band that use. I know it's not Frazetta, but Frazetta-ish art,
Frazetta style looking.
Exactly, art with songs about the secret of steel and what have you. Okay, I know what these guys are all about, and might not really go into the technicality of it. I know that you're very passionate about every note that you put out. Was that what the change? I know the pandemic and all the changes that happened in the last few years have very much inspired this new approach for you. But was there some level of frustration with you that not everybody took you as serious as you wanted them to take you?
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I mean, like I know what you mean, because the music might not reflect so much the artwork at times or something, or they might just see it as like super cheesy and stuff, and that honestly that's okay with me, man. Like we're just a bunch of nerds, and I like what I like, and I like to play this music. So I mean, in the end, I understand that some things might be misleading, or that this field of style, or this style of artwork and music, it might be there's already like a collection of things that kind of sound like the way they do. There's a band Conan, they have like that kind of imagery a little bit too, but they're like doom metal, and so there's so many different styles. But we are, I guess, a little weird because we have like the neoclassical element with Frazetta art. I don't know if that's been done as much, so I think that's probably why people might be confused with us. But I'm not necessarily worried. Again, I just feel like we're just writing about shit that we think is cool, because we're just a bunch of nerds that are stoked about anything sword and sorcery, high fantasy, and and horror stuff. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm not too I don't sweat it. I just try to top whatever I do. Like if we come up with something like this album Necrophony, I mean, we're really proud of it, but next time we're probably gonna just, I don't know, we're gonna try a different approach just to one up it somehow,
And it also makes the new album. I had a chance to listen to the full album already, obviously.
Awesome.
Like ever since my friends introduced me to you guys with The Sound of Steel, and then I started getting the older albums, and I had so much fun with you guys. But when I'm listening to the new album, I think because of the change of themes and approach, it's also all of a sudden much more relatable as a person, right? Because before I'm playing you guys, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm wielding a battle axe on a field of victory.
Yes.
But now you're talking about, or at least it could be interpreted by, I have to face my inner demons, and I have to face that still life, if you will.
Yes.
Do you see that reaction across the board? That I know that not everything is out yet, but that people are also already kind of reacting in a different level as well?
Yes, I feel like so far, I mean, everything we've seen on our single releases on YouTube, comments and stuff, and fan interactions when we play shows. So far, everything has been very positive, and it seems like people have noticed, like, oh yeah, you guys are doing, still doing your somewhat high fantasy, especially with Oathbreaker. That song is obviously Tolkien inspired and has to do with battle a little bit, but it's more so like about redemption. And people have noticed too, like, oh yeah, you guys, your songs are a little more deeper now. Like your lyrics are, more introspective, as opposed to just the glory of battle. That's always fun, and I'm all about having fun too. But I think during this time, we didn't exactly intentionally want to make this album super dark. I think it was just at the time, during the the depressive time of the pandemic, we all were feeling down and hopeless, and like, oh, there's no point in making this next album. So we pulled ourselves out of that depression and got to work. And what came out was this more introspective aspect of our lyrics, and I guess a sense of hopelessness and trying to push through throughout the album, lyrically, musically, and thematically. The artwork is a lot different this time too.
You've said a few times we had to up our game to feel at home at Nuclear Blast. They're obviously a different league than Prosthetic. No, we've said with all the love in the world for all the smaller labels out there.
Of course, yeah.
But do you also, because from my end, I can definitely see, based on all what's going on behind the scenes and the buzz in the PR community and so on, there's already a lot more people talking about this album, I think, than your previous releases. What's like the biggest difference that you've seen now that you're working with that team versus in the past?
I just think it's interesting you say that, because in Prosthetic we had a lot of everyone there was really into us, and everyone did what they could to help us out. And this time, I haven't met every single person that we've been dealing with Nuclear Blast now, but so far, I mean, everyone's been very communicative, very, very, very into like just getting the content out. So I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's a little. I think they just have better connections with Nuclear Blast, better pull. So again, I mean, nothing against Prosthetic or anything, but yeah, I mean, this team with Nuclear Blast it's like top notch. So I'm like, we're just blown away that we're able to be a part of that roster, and obviously very honored. So yeah, so very new for us, and just very stoked about that, because everything's been pretty damn good so far. But the album, we're very proud of this work and very searched inwards within ourselves for this one. So I hope you kind of take a little bit of that with your listen, first, second, third, whatever, however many times it takes. But spin it more and more, But yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. And when we're coming to your shows and when you're going to take this more and more on the road, are we going to see then also that newfound focus reflected into the set? Like, should we expect us to see and hear a lot of new material when you're playing?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We'll be playing all the singles, probably a couple more, depending on how much time we have for our set. But we could always, push for some more. But I'm really excited about the new songs. I feel a lot of them are going to be staples for years to come. So yeah, we're very much excited. So yeah, expect like the same live energy that we've always brought. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for that. I look forward to seeing you guys play again on a stage. I can't wait for you guys to come back up here to Toronto, and just anywhere basically in the States.
Yeah, we're planning on that. We're planning on that very soon. We'll be finalizing and confirming some of the routing of our tour plans for before the end of the year. So expect us over there in Toronto as soon as we can get there.
Awesome. Well, Conan, thank you so much. I really do appreciate. I know that it can be annoying having to do too many of these interviews, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions.
No problem. Anything to spread the word. Appreciate you, and thanks for having me again.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it, and subscribe to the channel.